にそびえる黒金の城
Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining us again. This is episode 30 of Oh No Anime the Podcast.
It's been a little while since we did an actual regular episode. Did we do one in between, or have we done one since LA?
I don't think so.
Oh man, so we've had a lot of other content. We put up a panel that we did. We did a Thunderbolt Fantasy video just a couple weeks ago.
But this is the OG. This is Oh No Anime the Podcast, episode 30.
We're back to normal.
Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Mark.
I'm Patrick.
And today, since we realized we haven't really recorded a regular episode of the podcast, we're coming to you, as if you can't tell, we're coming to you live from Anime Festival Orlando 2016.
Yeah. We actually told them to pause the con because we had to do a podcast.
Yeah, everyone's out in the hall right now. So.
They're just waiting on us, but we're going to make them wait because we have a lot of anime to talk about.
Yeah, the new season is about 4 weeks in.
Yeah, before we start with that, I just want to say I know the normal format is we do news and then do anime, but we decided that we're just going to do a news episode after this, probably.
Yeah, sometime this week we'll probably get together and record a news episode.
There's a lot of crazy shit going on.
There is indeed. But for right now, let's talk about anime. So why don't you give us our first show?
I think we should start strong with what we watched this morning. That's Love Live. Obviously, y'all know me. That's my favorite thing ever. I'm glad Mark's finally on the train.
It's a good train to be on. I like Love Live a lot.
Yeah, no.
It's really fun.
So last time we spoke about it, we recapped the Aqua Live event with the first episode this morning we watched. I believe the 5th episode, right?
Yeah.
Yohane Descends. We have a lot to talk about. The big thing that everybody's talking about in the Love Live fandom is, how close Sunshine and Aqua is to Muse and whether that's a good or bad thing, whether they're overplaying it. I'm going to write an article on that, but real quick, since we're doing a podcast, I fucking love it. I think it's really good. Towards the middle, I was like, well, maybe they're going a little hard, literally, because they were doing like one-to-one comparisons of the girls there for a little bit, and I felt like that might have been a bit much, but episode 5 kind of brought me back for sure.
Yeah. I've been enjoying it so far. I was relatively lukewarm on it in comparison to the original Love Live, which I was very, very impressed with. I enjoyed Sunshine for what it was, but today's episode 5, which introduced the Chuni character, Yohane, sucked me completely back in. Yohane is in the running for best girl.
That was
a
better Chunibyo episode than the entirety of Kyoani's Chuni Tukoi or Chutukoi, whatever you want to call it. But
it was really
that's
good.
A lot because I really like that show. But I felt like they really neatly encapsulated a kid with Chuni problems kind of getting over it, saying I don't want to do this anymore, and then kind of realizing it's a part of them and just letting it be a part of them. And it was a lot of good character growth in one episode.
She's a surprisingly cute character too. I really like all of her mannerisms outside of her Chuni
I like
character.
how often she's going back and forth. I didn't expect that. I thought it was I thought she was going to be Yohane, then somebody would call her Yoshiko, and then she'd do the regular voice that don't call me Yoshiko, and then I thought it would be that. Not
she
like
has
an even
almost
mix.
Multiple personalities because at one point in the episode she has Hanamaru try to regulate her Chuni behavior.
It's gonna be Hanamaru's new nickname, the Regulator.
Yeah,
we're gonna call Hanamaru the Regulator.
She's Nate Dog.
She's Nate Dog. I like this idea. There's God. I want to talk more about this because we're freaking 5 episodes in. Going back in episode 4 was the Hanamaru and Ruby episode. And that was another one where I was worried about how they were going to handle a character because you all know if you've been listening, I've been paying attention to the live shows that they do, all the radio stuff, and I was worried that Ruby was going to be the classic, just ridiculously stupidly shy one, and Hanamaru was just going to be the bookworm, but they have some decent depth to them.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say they're the greatest characters because Love Live has never been about amazing writing. It's been about amazing execution. Yeah, but there is more than enough there to love.
I would say the high point of Sunshine especially is the stellar direction. The direction has always been very, very good, and not just in the idle sequences. Outside of it, the framing and the colors are all very on point. I really, really enjoy. I think honestly, my favorite part about Sunshine itself is the setting, because
taking
Love
it
Live,
out of Akiba and into Numazu is really, really
Numazu
cool.
is a very different setting than Akiba. The main difference, honestly, that a lot of people notice is that a lot of scenes, in anime that take place in Tokyo and surrounding regions are like a lot of scenes take place on trains, and there are no trains in Numazu. There are buses, so it's like a very different storytelling technique that they have to like employ to like kind of basically change one of the like main like tropey kind of framing mechanisms for like how you do an exposition or have a dialogue. And it's really interesting, and it's like a really different setting for...
It's cool because not only are they aren't technically in Numazu even, like they have to take a bus together to the like downtown area, so it's really out in the boonies. They're just like in a small fishing town, really. There's schools on top of the hill.
I love this setting, and there is no better time that they could have done this than right now, because like it's the middle of summer. We've got a lot of other shows that are taking place on the beach, so you know, this really kind of fits into what this summer, I think you'll hear us talk about a lot. What the summer is all about is just really like heavily like summer based shows. You know,
that's
a lot of shows
that are doing
take
amazing
place
in this show
at the beach, and you know, there's so much.
Except for
that
aquarium scenes,
beach.
we're going to see some aquariums later, I'm sure.
It's I've been enjoying it, but I think episode 5 especially really drew me back in a lot.
I mean, the turning point, even though this was also the point where I was like, maybe they're drawing too heavily on Muse, was episode 3, of course, the concert episode, where it mirrored Muse's first concert with a lack of people there, and then did its own thing with oh, we're idiots, we got the time wrong. That was really sweet. That scene was really, really heart tugging. The song really, the lyrics called back to God, why can't I think of the first Muse song? I'm brain farting real hard. Start Dash, there we go. It was a really, really nice callback, and the music is their own, which I think is probably the most important thing.
To me, the way they seem to be doing Sunshine is a really interesting play off this idea that, you know, Muse kind of ended on, which was everyone can be a school idol. Anyone who wants to be a school idol can. And they're really showing
coincidentally is also the motto of Prepara.
Yeah.
Sorry.
An even better idol show, right?
You're putting me in a rough spot,
Yeah,
Phils.
I know. But you know, Love Live Sunshine is definitely showing the products of that, you know, final like Sunny Day song and all that stuff.
It's cool because now we know that it's set several years after Muse has graduated. In fact, all of the girls are in college, so it's at least 4 years after. Which is really cool. We kind of see a post-Muse world because we all know they break up at the end. Sniffle, sniffle. But it's really cool to kind of see the girls as legends, and I think how many pop stars today have, you know, pop stars that were popular when they were younger.
Well, and it mirrors real life, certainly. Like it adds a new layer of meaning to it that, like, you know, the real life version of Muse is every bit as legendary as they are in the show. They're
that is very true.
Ubiquitous, and they're everywhere in Japan.
The Aqua voice actresses, you know, having to look up to their Muse senpai.
The fact that they took them to the final live for Muse to me it's
really cool.
Is insane, and also shows a level of foresight that is really impressive. Like the fact that they already knew that like what they were going to do, they had already cast them by the time that Muse was doing their final live. I mean, that shows that
they had already had their first live by then.
Yeah, and they have a lot of a really high level of preparation, you know, in Sunshine, and I just really like. Around. Yeah, I really like. Yeah, like I think you said there was a turning point for me where I went from like, oh boy, please don't go too close to Muse. Like Muse is sacred. Like I don't want you to touch that. To like, okay, the reason they're doing this is because they want to show just how much these people were influenced by Muse.
What I've said from episode 1 is I think making Chika a Muse-like mega fan is probably the smartest move they could have done, because right there instantly the protagonist, everybody here that had watched Love Live and is watching Sunshine, which is probably like 90% of the audience, immediately sympathizes with her. Because that is probably the single greatest decision they made in making.
And they're rooting for her because she's in a position to do something that most people won't, which is actually become a school idol. Which is pretty dope. So yeah, I mean, I really am liking it a lot so far.
It's a fucking great show.
It's a fun show, and I think it's about as well as you can hope, or it's about as good as you can hope. Better than I'd hoped,
and we had spoken in the season preview that I was pretty confident it was going to do well, and it's doing better than I thought.
They're doing a good job of kind of filling different shoes, like showing that this is a different project with different goals.
At the same time, the analogs between the girls is where it might get too close.
I mean, it gets hilarious.
You have the second-year best friend that's making the outfits and is a childhood friend, and you have the tsundere who plays the piano. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
But the one thing that they did not have in the original Love Live is Johanne's analog.
Yes,
no
there
one
was
like
no tuning.
I mean, Nozomi a little bit, but Nozomi was not a tuning
Nozomi
character.
has the fortune telling, and that's
yeah.
it.
So I'm liking it, and yeah, Johanne is like definitely in the running for my favorite character.
I think
now.
I'm pretty solid on Hanamaru after her computer fuck ups in today's episode.
We'll have to
is
see
probably my
what
favorite.
Kanan's episode is like because
Yeah.
I think it's going to absolutely,
Suicune, yeah.
utterly destroy.
And I do really, really like Mari.
Yeah.
Mari is a lot of fun, and I
Mari's
think
cool.
Dio, when she stops being a bitch, is going to be a lot
There's
of fun.
definitely no one that I dislike as much as I dislike Nico when she first showed up, so we'll see.
No
we'll
utter
see
trash.
what happens.
Before we move on, just real quick, I
Yeah.
want to take a guess at what Mari's email letter was at the end there. I think she's going to force Dio to become part of them.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be director's
probably.
orders. It's like, hey, we need to try again, because I think it's pretty clear that the backstory here is that the third years aren't
Same thing
into
as
it
Nico.
because
Yeah.
they tried before and failed.
Yeah.
We don't know what reason they failed, but it's pretty clear that's where they're going. If that's not what it is, then cool. They pulled one over on us.
Yeah. Probably is going to be like, not only is she forcing the student council president to join, but she's also joining.
Oh
with
yeah,
them.
obviously.
Because she's in Aqua.
Somehow
like,
writes a directive to the girl that's not even
Yeah.
attending school to rejoin.
Yep. Anything else we want to say about Love Live before we move on?
That'll probably do it for now.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it.
No, we'll be
obviously,
back
as
to a
the
regular
season
schedule.
progresses.
Our con season is slowly down.
It's coming to a close for the
We had
summer,
like 3
thankfully.
and 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And one of those
It's
was
been-
Anime Expo.
It's been kind of crazy, so
Yeah.
we're a little tired, as you guys might imagine. But I'm actually excited to get back to recording like regular podcast
Yeah,
episodes.
and the additional content and
doing
everything,
more
and I want to get
videos,
writing
yeah,
more. Yeah,
for sure.
Real quick, since we're talking about this, even though we said we weren't doing news, we
Yeah.
just hit 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a 100 subscriber video.
We are going to we're probably going to still have a busy week this week because I do want to record the news episode, but we also are going to record a 100 episode or 100 subscriber video to thank you guys who have subscribed to us. It's it's a very, very small milestone on what is hopefully a long journey, but
The thing is, the way I've been looking at it is, sure, when you look at some of the bigger anime bloggers that have been doing it for a while, you see 292,000 subscribers and their views get 30, 40, 50,000 views like that. But you know what? 100 people is a lot of people, and thank all 100 of you.
Yeah,
that means a lot.
It really does.
People are
mean a
listening
lot.
to us talk about our hobby. That's
all of
really
our
fucking
friends that have helped us with so many
Cool. This will
things.
probably be better for our 100th.
Yeah,
subscriber
we'll get
video.
to. I mean, we'll be more sappy when it comes to
Yeah.
that, and also more stupid because we couldn't possibly do a 100 subscriber video and take it seriously. So you'll see. You'll see what happens. It's going to be really dumb. But anyway, let's keep talking about anime. One thing that I can just see at the top of this list that we can get out of the way because we aren't watching it anymore.
Oh no,
Berserk.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you start the second episode?
I started it and then
Hey, me
ended
too.
it about 5 seconds after. Berserk is
sorry.
about as horrible as you could possibly imagine.
It's not just the animation anymore. Either,
It's the adaptation. Like after
Yeah.
I went through and reread the first part of the Black Swordsman arc and saw how much they had chopped up the first
they've
episode.
got anime original stuff, which might be good. I mean, Miura did write it, but why?
Writing is
you don't
only
need to
one
do
part.
that. You don't need to do that.
Honestly, I just can't get by how ugly it looks. It looks so unbelievably bad.
I hate to do that because some of my most favorite anime are the ugly ones, like Ping Pong. But this is a different
but
sort
Ping
of
Pong
ugly.
is interesting to look at. Berserk is
Berserk
just an
looks ugly.
offensive on the eyeballs, and
Yeah.
I don't like it. It just
So
doesn't
sorry to
look good.
anybody who was looking forward to our Berserk coverage.
Yeah,
That stopped very short.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's worth talking about because it's depressing. Like, it makes me sad because, like, I wanted a good Berserk, but...
Berserk is always depressing, but not like this.
Yeah.
Not like this.
The most accurate thing I saw someone say was, like, now we can suffer along with guns.
Our suffering is equal to his now.
Yeah, for real. Alright. Do you have anything to say about Re-Life? Did you watch any of that?
You know, I'm familiar with the manga. I believe I spoke about this quickly in our preview episode. It's already been like 5 weeks, 6 weeks since then, though. I saw the first 2 episodes, and like I said with the manga didn't really sell it to me. That anime didn't change anything. I've heard a lot of good feedback.
People on our anime seem to really like that show.
Yeah, I guess it's not for me. I'm gonna leave it at that. Have you tried it?
Since it is fully all 12 or so episodes are
it's
available,
bingeable.
I was planning to just like wait till I had an off day and just binge it.
Yeah.
or
I would
you know,
like
at
to hear
least
your thoughts on it.
see if I can get into it. I haven't given it a try yet, mostly because I've been trying to be more regular with the anime that I do have and not wait until Sunday every week to watch like 150
That's the
shows.
greatest stuff.
But I just want to see if you had any opinions on that.
Nothing on that.
Let's talk about a show that we both watched at AX. I don't think you've been keeping up as much as me, but let's talk about B Project.
Yeah, that's all you.
Kodo
I started the second
Ambitious,
episode.
apparently, is the...
I started the second episode, and I was like, the first episode was pretty cool, and I got through the gimmick, and then...
So B Project is a otome show. It is about a bunch of cute boys that are male idols and a lady that manages them.
Yeah, and doesn't know a thing about music.
Nope. I don't know how she got the job, but she's not good at it. And that's the whole joke. It's a dumb show, but I actually have been kind of enjoying it because it does focus a lot on the industry side of things. Maybe not so much as, say, Idolmaster Cinderella Girls level of like you know, professional you know, analysis of like what is it like to be an idol, but it's actually like it goes a lot into like what is it like performing as a male idol, like what is it like with the fans. I mean, it's all very like romanticized.
I wonder if Udapri ever does that.
I think Udapri is like even stupider than B Project. Like I think B Project still tries to like maintain some semblance of realism. Yeah. But also I like the Seiyu a lot on the show. There are a lot of people. I did
enjoy the first episode. It's just I'm watching so many things that.
Oh no, I wouldn't suggest
Otome for the sake of watching an Otome.
No, I would not suggest. Honestly, I wouldn't suggest anyone watch it. But I'm too far down the rabbit hole now. I can't.
Oh, you're taking the big order for me last season.
Taboo Tattoo is going to be that for both of us this season. We'll get to that later. Days, the soccer anime from
Yes,
Mappa.
I think I'm caught up. Well, what happened this week?
I didn't see today's episode. I haven't seen anything from today.
So the last one was the manager. Okay.
Yes.
The manager showed up.
Yes.
All right. So Days.
We're going to have a discussion about this.
We haven't spoken about Days at all. So let's start with the first episode. For those of you who are not watching, Days is it's a youth soccer anime.
Yeah, it is a soccer anime in the vein of old school retro sports anime.
Yeah, it is kind of very similar to Captain Tsubasa in a lot of aspects. But the main character, can't remember his name. Sorry, it's been a week since I watched.
The names are so jumbled in my head now for every show.
He doesn't know a lick about soccer. He winds up getting called into a game to be a substitute, and all he can do is run. But he winds up loving the game and loving playing with everybody. Becomes a part of the team. He sucks. He makes the team run a lot. They kind of hate him, and then they realize he can be our strength. It's really touching going through that, and I really did enjoy that. It's a little campy, but
but campy in a good way, like campy as if it is
sports
very
anime
much,
campy.
Yeah, very much like kind of emulating the best about retro sports anime. In a very good way, and not to mention the fact that it looks really cool. Like the character designs are all very retro feeling, like especially the main character is like he literally has just like red circles on his cheeks, and the lines are all super clean. All the colors pop really well. I mean, stuff that you would think of when you think of Mappa is like colors and really clean lines. This is very much like the kind of thing that I think Mappa does so well, which is just not
it's
necessarily
really weird
like
to see it in a sports anime, but
not
I like
super
it.
like super fanciful animation, but it's just really strong, really consistent.
The animation
really clean.
hasn't dropped off either. Really.
No, I mean that's a sports anime,
amazing,
so like I think if you're watching a sports anime expecting like stellar animation and it's not Haikyuu, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. But Haikyuu is very much a fluke in that whole formula. But it's just been. I think it's been really strong. Now we should talk about the latest episode. Yeah, I want to talk about the latest episode.
So the latest episode, I don't know if she's a love interest because he has like the childhood friend too.
Yeah,
I assume would be the love interest. But we got introduced to who eventually winds up being the manager, and she's this real sourpuss girl in the class that just says, "You're weak, you can't do shit," yada yada yada. Which is fine, except she does a complete 180 in one episode. I never got your opinion on this, but I really didn't like it. I felt like that, especially in a sports anime where things are normally drawn out. I feel like because what happened is she kind of sees that he knows that he's not good, and that's why he keeps working. His one thing is that he keeps working. That's what makes him special, and it makes her do a complete 180 to the point of getting the like cheesy anime blush crush on him. I just didn't like that happened in one episode. I really like the girl, the character. I like her voice acting. I like most things about her. I just didn't like that happened in a span of 20 minutes.
Yeah. I like her character design. I think overall she's a good character. That was very jarring that all happened in one episode.
It felt like it didn't fit.
The only explanation that I could possibly offer for that is that was a longer arc in the manga, and they just had to shorten it to get to the real meat and bones, because I don't necessarily blame them for having that be the one that they shortened, considering how it's a soccer anime about soccer, and that episode was very much not about
there's
soccer.
a lot of ways they could have done it otherwise, though. Like, I would have been fine. Of course, I'm not the manga reader, so I don't know how much her personality or this story comes into play later, but I would have been fine if she was the manager to begin with.
Yeah.
And they just had her there as a set piece already, or she got introduced and got a crush on him. So I feel like there had to have been a better way to handle that than cramming what should have been 3-4 episodes worth of character development in one episode. And it was especially jarring because the A part of that episode before the commercial break had like none of the main character in it. It was just her being a sourpuss.
I honestly think that is probably just an unfortunate byproduct of
I still really like the show.
Scheduling issues and also like
just watching that. I was just like,
I don't know how long that show is going to be, so
I have no idea.
They might be really strapped for time and space in that show, and I mean that's I think that's a subjective decision making. Like, I feel like you could probably argue for either,
and we were on the cutting room.
We don't know what's coming up either. So like, I think, I'm sure it was probably something like, oh, we need to cut this down, but I really don't want to cut this out. And
there's a really good Matsukaze cosplayer outside. Sorry, I hadn't seen any of those yet. Lots of Shimakaze here, no Matsukaze.
I feel like it was just a decision that they had to make, and I think probably damned if you do, damned if you don't, honestly, especially with the manga reading crowd.
Outside of her, I do like all of the other characters. They're very endearing. We have a lot of sports anime stereotypes, but those stereotypes, those tropes exist for a reason.
I like the sports anime stereotypes, and we have all of them.
If we didn't like anime tropes, we wouldn't be doing an anime podcast. So
we've got, long-haired blonde pretty boy. We've got like banana-headed pissed off basically Arakita stereotype. We've got a lot of good ones, and also the voice cast for the show is off the goddamn charts.
It's really good. They're killing it. They're doing a good job.
Yep. I guess one show that we should just get out of the way, because we've already made a video about it, is Thunderbolt Fantasy.
Still really good.
It's still really good, and if you're not watching that show, you're missing out on probably one of the best shows this season. Like, hands down.
Can argue whether it's an anime or not all day. Might as well be.
It's in Crunchyroll's anime section, which I think says a lot about how it should be treated in the US. But anyway, like I said, if you're not watching that show, go watch it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
It's some great high fantasy.
And go watch our video on it. Shokugeki no Soma ni no Sara.
It's second more of the same. We all know how much we love the first season. We're like balls deep into the tournament arc now. We got Mimisaka Subaru finally showed up. The cheesy, ridiculous villain who's just crazy evil. I'm
gonna be 100% honest with you. I am very ready for the tournament arc to be done.
Yeah,
it's been stretched.
Thing is, when you lead up to a tournament arc, like they did in the first season, it's cool. When you're starting in the middle of a tournament arc, after how long do we have off? 6 months?
Yeah, enough.
It's rough, and not only that, they accelerated it. They were doing a match per episode, which makes me worry because I believe this is only one core.
Yeah.
So, Suru, we're going to have at least one more episode. Obviously, they need to finish the fight.
Yeah.
Or they didn't even really start it, did they?
Finish the fight?
Yeah, Halo 3.
Halo 3.
They need a Halo 3, finish the fight.
They need to pull a Halo 3. Call Bungie.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I think being a manga reader on this one is helping me out because I'm just so excited about what comes next.
Yeah.
Even in this battle, because I remember the way this one back forth, especially how Soma takes on this foe who just mimics stuff, is really fun, and we get introduced to a new fun journalist character that's
nice,
pretty neat. It should be a pretty good next 1 or 2 episodes, I think.
Nice, and
hopefully we get to the Stagiaire arc after that.
Yeah, I
hope we have time for that because Hisako is really good.
Yeah. I'm assuming this is going to get another season after this.
It'll happen eventually, yeah. It's going to be one of those long-running shows. That's like the new thing in shonen adaptations, is taking their time, splitting when they need to.
Yeah. It doesn't ever look bad, so I'm glad that they're doing that.
I feel like excuse me, the BGM isn't as fun this time.
Yeah, I don't know if they're using a different composer.
They step back from the overbearing like orchestral epic score, which is kind of a shame. That was a lot of the fun of the first.
Well, I mean,
one
like the guy that did that did like Buddy Fight and shit like that, so it was like very like over the
in
top
your face.
and crazy,
I thought that was really good for Iron Chef the anime.
Yeah. I do want to briefly mention Arslan Senki for those that are watching that.
I did go back and finish the first season. I have not started the second. I'm probably going to marathon it.
I like the second season so far a lot. Andragoras has escaped and come back.
Like a shorter season?
It is. It's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And I don't really know where they're going with it because just as I thought they were going to turn around and try to take Pars, Andragoras shows up, the king, and basically says the crown prince under Parsian law cannot command an army. I'm banishing you. You have to gather 50,000 men and then come back.
All right.
Because he's a piece of shit.
Is it 50,000 men an army?
Yeah, that's basically that's basically what he's saying.
Get your own army.
Like basically like come back to me with an army and we'll take Pars. But his dad is also a huge prick. So, but now it's more of what I like so much about the show, which is Arslan and his like really weird, disparate group of friends just shitlording around the countryside, beating up people. It's great.
I learned something really, really cool about Arslan Senki, and I didn't know. Since I don't have anything to say about the show right now, I'll add this. So, we talked about when the first season came out that Hiromu Arakawa of Full Metal Alchemist fame is doing the manga, and the manga was adapted from a series of books. I did not know this. The book author is none other than the same author of Legend of Galactic Heroes.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah, that explains a shitload.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's taking it from like almost said parse from like Persian legend, and a lot of it draws on like actual history. Yeah, obviously not 1-to-1, but
not 1-to-1 at all. None of these things ever happened.
But I just thought that was a really cool tidbit.
It's really awesome, and the manga is really good. But the TV show is doing a very. The TV show is doing a very good job.
Speaking of Legend of Galactic Heroes, the second volume of the actual book just came out a few weeks ago. Pick that up on Amazon. It's like $10.
Nice.
It's a really good read.
Nice. Orange?
Orange, yeah. Am I caught up on Orange? What was the last episode you saw?
Last episode I saw was what's his name? The like second part of Kakeru's like girlfriend arc. Basically.
Okay. Well, we can spoil this.
Senpai.
Did you see him break up? Or he's planning on it?
I think he's near that if he didn't already do that.
So the final scene was them like on the bench, and then he runs away being a cute little nerd. Mm-hmm. And Sua's still the best, bro.
Oh, yeah. They did break up in that episode. You're right. Yeah. And Sua's still best boy.
Yeah. So both of us having watched the drama, did we talk about this when we were in LA at all?
Yeah, I think we did. We watched. So we briefly mentioned that we watched.
Yeah. So real quick, we saw the movie on the flight over. It was funny because both of us we were sitting far away from each other on the plane. We both saw it and we're like, oh shit, we should watch this.
The live action drama.
Yes. So we kind of know the twists and turns. I already like this a lot more than the drama version.
Yeah, it's way better.
I had a lot of opinions on that we spoke about in the Day Zero video. Most of them were poor opinions. Yeah. But I did like the story, and so far, so good. The direction is really odd. It does not feel like an anime. Yeah. The way it's directed feels like a live-action show, which I'm not sure if that's a plus or a minus yet.
Yeah, I think it's just different, honestly.
Yeah, it's different. Lots of, like, weird montages. I don't hate it. It's just not what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah. I really like the opening. I like how much like rotoscoping is going on in the opening a lot.
The ending is by Kobokuro as well. Yeah. It's like almost like a folk music duo. They're really good.
I really like the character designs a lot on that show.
Fantastic,
I think they're really there's a lot of beauty to them, which I think is not very much like an anime beauty. Like they almost look like a fashion magazine or something like that, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Like fashion
it's sketches. It's that shoujo design. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it a lot. I've been very impressed so far with it, and I don't really have anything other to say other than that I just really like it. And then if you like
prepping
romance,
my tear ducts.
Yeah, if you like romance and you like shit that's gonna make you cry, then go watch Orange.
Yeah,
it's
good. It'll get you there if it hasn't already.
All right, let's do a really big one. Okay, I'm gonna give you a choice: ReZero or JoJo. Which one do you want to tackle first? JoJo, I can't imagine we have much different to say
JoJo,
about that.
yeah. Let's do JoJo first and then ReZero.
JoJo, I don't have
to
a
say
whole...
about ReZero.
Yeah, JoJo, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I'm really excited that Yoshikage Kira has finally shown up in the show. You know, no matter how minorly... I don't think that we've talked about JoJo since Rohan showed up.
I don't think so.
Rohan is one of the biggest characters of that show. I... At first did not know how I felt about Takahiro Sakurai as Rohan. He's grown on me a lot. I think that his first performance, the first episode, was pretty damn lukewarm.
Yeah.
I think the further on that he's settled in that role, the more used to it
I was never worried the same way you and Kat were. Like,
Yeah.
I disagreed with recasting somebody who had a good casting like that, but I was just like, I'm sure there was a good reason, and this guy's a good voice actor.
I mean, I have a huge bias, but also I was worried about putting such a huge character, arguably one of the biggest JoJo characters ever, in the hands of someone who knew next to nothing about JoJo and had never worked on it before.
Compared to somebody who...
Compared to Hiroshi Kamiya, who is like basically the Seiyu face of JoJo and is
an odd choice.
Lives in that character.
Yeah.
But I think it's been good so far. I don't hate his performance. I still would have preferred Hiroshi Kamiya, but I don't have anything bad to say about Takahiro Sakurai's performance. I think it's a lot more like smooth and grounded, but it really he does a really good job of emphasizing the creepiness of the character so much as like the explosiveness that he kind of shows sometimes, which I like. It's good.
As far as the show itself goes, I'm happy to watch another 100 episodes of them just palling around doing stupid shit with stupid stands. It's working.
Literally the whole show up until now has just been shenanigans. Like, it's so much. It's like, it's such a great bromance between Josuke and Okuyasu. It's really awesome. The other really just like honestly the biggest standout about this show still to this day is the direction. Every single episode, I am astounded at how creative.
You spoke about Rohan earlier. While his voice acting may have been lukewarm in that first episode, that had some of the coolest cuts ever. Like it was in your face. This guy does manga, and the way they showed that with the like crazy like panel insets was some of the coolest storyboarding I've seen in a TV anime.
Yeah. It's almost like watching a 22-minute music video because the way that they transition between scenes is so creative and so fluid that you really like you blink and you're like, whoa, wait a second, what? It's not like it's all very smooth. None of it's jarring. It's just really like just one after another.
It drags you right in.
Really cool and engaging, and the way that they mirror Araki's own use of color by like just changing the color palette like every 5 minutes is so good. I love that.
Yeah, they're nailing it there. You can tell everybody on the staff loves.
Yeah, and this is the pinnacle. This is the pinnacle of like JoJo on TV. Yeah. But I mean, this is, you could tell like everyone on that team knows exactly what they're like working on, and it's really cool. I really like it. Well. Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about the other one. Let's talk about ReZero. This is a behemoth.
This is the one that everybody's talking about, and with good reason. I really like it. I don't remember the last time we talked about it on the show, but I do believe it was before the current, as fans have been calling it, suffering arc. Yeah. I don't think people are calling it that, but that's really what it should be called.
It really is, though.
I have complicated feelings on this. The thing is, I think it's done pretty well, but it's done too much.
Yeah.
I'm getting bored of it, to be quite honest. I still really like the show, and it's still very entertaining, but we've been stuck in this rut for a while.
I think, honestly, the best episode of that show so far has been episode 15, which is the one that everyone freaked out about. But I think the lead up to that was kind of lukewarm, and also everything since then have been like, this is literally the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. And I understand that a lot of that show is he dies, he resurrects.
Yeah, it's on purpose. It's to kind of put us in the mindset of Subaru being completely fucking broken.
Yeah.
But for me, like, they introduce all these awesome new characters in the first episode when they get to the city and we understand what's going on with the election, and they act like we're heading into an arc about that. And then the new characters have shown up briefly when they showed up, and they've stolen the show for me every time they do.
Yeah.
As much as I love Rem.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard because I really like the show. It's definitely one of the better things airing. It's one of the better things that have aired in some time, but I'm getting bored.
Yeah. I think that they have not done enough to convince me that what they're showing me isn't just the suffering porn. Yeah.
The good news is tomorrow's episode apparently has a 27-minute runtime, which means we're not going to get an opening and ending. I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be an end to this arc. They left off at a really good point where I guess he's getting closer to the witch's influence or something, because you can see those Elfenlied like hand things.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Beetlejuice, or some people are calling it Beetlejuice, which
and
is
we've
great.
also finally got like a real honest to God on-screen confirmation that Puck is Amelia's mom.
Yeah, that's
which is pretty crazy,
weird,
and an interesting revelation. So I'm excited to see where
it's also going to be a three-way fight too, where they left off, because I don't know if Puck realizes that Subaru might have accidentally killed Amelia there.
Yeah, I don't know what.
I think he's just ready to go.
I have always suspected that Puck probably knows exactly what Subaru's deal is.
You think so?
Yeah, I think because
I'm interested where Beatrice comes in all of it, because sometimes she seems like she knows and other times she doesn't.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like she probably half knows about like
she knows weird.
Yeah, something's wrong with him, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting episode, and like the intrigue is definitely
the intrigue
really
is keeping me there, and I almost feel like it's like Haruhi's Endless 8.
Yeah.
Although obviously not the same, because there's literally 8 episodes of the same thing. I'm getting the same feeling where you watch every week in anticipation of something to change, and you start looking like you're running out of time. And I want to make a Hamilton joke so bad.
Don't do it.
I lost my train of thought because of it.
Don't.
But so it's like you're looking. All right, there's only X amount of episodes left. How much more of this do we get before we have a
where the hell is this going? Like that's the thing that I just every single time I think I know where it's going, they completely flip the script and take it so far out of my realm of guesses that like I just don't.
So we haven't talked about this the whole bit. I fucking hate Subaru right now. I understand he's supposed to be mind broken, but he's just like talk. I know you can't tell people that you're dying over and over, but go to Amelia and say, hey, look, I happen to know that this is going to happen. Don't just yell at her, follow me.
Yeah, like his approach to everything is so unbelievably...
I loved him getting dunked on by Anastasia. That was probably my favorite part.
Also,
I think that's her name.
The craziest part to me is like the disparity between like he's like talking to himself before he goes into the room with Amelia and is like, listen, don't screw this up, stay calm, like all this stuff, and then he goes in there and just flies off the fucking handle. And like I think the only explanation possible that you can have to that sort of thing is like seeing her alive probably like screwed him up a little bit. Because, like, I can definitely understand why he's so fucked up, because he literally just keeps seeing the people that he loves die over and over. And he's also got such, I can imagine, such confused feelings, because it's pretty obvious that he also has feelings for Rem.
Oh, yeah. How can
which
he
is
not?
a really good writing.
She continuously sacrifices herself for him.
It is definitely possible to be in love with more than one person at the same time, and the fact that they've written that into a
I've heard that there's a spin-off, like a book spin-off, where that's the actual pairing, and then they just have kids, and that's it. I'm like, cool, let's go with that.
I want to read that.
Yeah,
I want to read that. Point me towards that book. That sounds fantastic, because Rem is the best girl.
Let it be known, Ono Anime.
Officially, Rem is Rem cross Subaru, because I think that, I mean, Subaru doesn't really deserve anyone, but I feel like Rem deserves Subaru way more than Amelia.
Rem is really good.
She's amazing, and she's really endearing, and I like her a lot. And I hope she's all right.
Yeah,
I hope she's okay. In the end.
He went to sleep after the last time she died.
Yeah,
and sleeping is normally dangerous. So we'll see.
Yeah. Let me look at what else we got on here. Honda-kun. That's out.
Yeah, I watched the first episode just in case, and they wasted the first half of the episode in this weird like metaverse.
Like
did you watch any of it?
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, and then the second half was just weird. He's so inhuman. Like
everyone on that show is inhuman.
I'd honestly prefer to just not talk about it.
Yeah,
Hana-kun's bad. It's not my brand of humor. It might be yours.
It's bad, and it's also not good. Let's talk about Sweetness and Lightning. So this is the child's cooking show.
Oh my god, I can't even.
It is every bit as like heartbreakingly cute as we thought it was going to be.
I love the I don't want to say dark, but I love the undertone where there is a bit of tragedy there with the young wife, and obviously with Kotori's mother not
It's
being around
very-
as often as she should. Although when she showed up, it was great.
Yeah.
The fucking school uniform.
Yeah, it's very real. It's a very the portrayal of a child in that show is incredibly.
Oh my god, it's
realistic.
so good. From everything she does, she's always in the background moving. Even when she's eating, supposedly like busy in front of the TV, she's got like her hands on the table. Just it's so good.
Her voice actress is
She's killing it.
fantastic. The ideas of parenting that they present in the show are like very realistic and very
really
empathetic. I really like Saori Hayami's character a lot. She's probably my favorite part about that show. She's just adorable, and I love her. And the cooking in this show is also very realistic because, you know, if you think about Shokugeki no Soma, it's all these like crazy highfalutin dishes.
It's 3-star.
You know, they're making
dishes.
some fancy stuff in Sweetness and Lightning, but it's all stuff that you could make like in your kitchen, which is pretty dope. Like I like.
Give me some bechamel sauce.
Yeah, and I like the idea of like cooking to make yourself happy, but also for a child. Like you have to like balance those two things.
I love the like clever ways they get her into it too.
Yeah, it's really cool.
The whole like red pepper thing or green pepper thing was so cute.
Yeah, I really like her. I really like all of the other child characters in that show.
I think we're about to see a lot more of them because them and their family are all in the opening.
Yeah, and Saori Hayami's character's like best friend just showed up. The Twin Tails like.
She just marched
girl.
in. Everybody in the class was like, "Oh, she does have friends." All right.
Yeah. Everyone
really
in the class is like, "Oh, you should invite her over to talk to us." And then this like twin tail
like
girl
fucking
with
kicks the door open, marches
horrible
in.
accent comes in, just like, "Hey, you got any friends yet?" Like sits down with her. It's so great.
Yeah.
That show is really
Sweetness
cute.
and Lightning is very good.
Definitely one of the
good
shows.
Healing anime.
Good, one of the feel good shows of summer.
We should leap into the other one. Let's talk about Amanchuu.
Yeah, let's. Oh my God.
I haven't not seen this week's episode. Have you?
Like today's episode?
Was it today? I feel like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything since yesterday.
We're on the same page then. Where to start with that one?
That show is goddamn magic. It's
the
goddamn
art direction.
Magic.
The art direction, I think, is a good place to start. The way they, we talked about this a bit with Sunshine, the seaside town.
Yeah,
that's just a good place for anime.
It is, but this is just
the way they frame the
thing.
shots, like they're like one with nature. I'm waxing poetic here, but
the continual references to the sakura blossom petals in the pool at their school is
it's a great visual motif.
Good.
Yeah,
all of the they constantly are referencing underwater shots like as much as they possibly can, which is really cool. Bubbles is another big like motif in that show that you see a lot between like transitions and stuff and in the opening and ending animations, but also the friendship between the two main girls is like I had to fight tears last weekend watching it.
Not Picari, but the other one has obviously really bad case of social anxiety.
Yeah,
and have somebody able to pull her out of that in such a like whimsical way is so cool, and for her to realize it is also really cool.
There's just such a really good, genuine representation of like real affection between them, and I really like it. And also like all the other characters in the show, and the teacher. All the other characters in the show are just really empathetic, very like toned down, like real characters, and I really like it. And but the setting is the most magical part of it. Like it's beachside town, small.
Half of the setting is the soundtrack.
Yeah,
that is like it's the same way Arya was with the like really like downplayed guitar everywhere, like almost Spanish guitar going on.
Yeah,
it's
every time that shit comes in, it's just like it just makes you real wistful.
I feel like my heart rate goes down to like 30 BPM every time I watch it.
It's just super calming. It's very relaxing, but it's also like it makes your heart tighten because it's just like. It's so earnest and pure and perfect, and like it just really is. It's kind of gay too, and I'm kind of into that.
It gets more gay.
I'm kind of into that, and I'm really glad.
I'm excited to see the other members of the Scuba Diving Club.
Yeah,
so that should be happening real soon. It might have happened this week. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I didn't see it.
Haven't seen it yet.
So speaking of gay,
let's talk
about
where are we going?
New game. Whew. This is definitely a front runner for number one best show of all time for both of us.
Yeah, I mean, You guys know, if you listen, that I was excited about this. I've been reading the manga since I first heard about it. I have a T-shirt of the show that I got the manga that I got like literally 2 years ago. And man, it's even better in anime form. Dokukobo does it again.
It's so good.
Where do we even start?
Literally every single character in that show is the most lovable character.
First of all, for me, is having characters outside of high school. I said earlier in this episode we love the anime tropes. At the same time, I love breaking anime tropes.
Yeah.
So having them, not even in college this time, but actually in a workplace.
Professional environment.
Which is like half the reason I love Shirobako is...
Now, granted, a lot of them are like just out of high school, like in there. But like it's definitely aiming to be a more professional environment. That's how they set it up. I am obsessed with the director of the game.
She's so good.
She's amazing.
She's so good. Her like long hair and the cat.
Yeah.
What's the cat's name? Like Mozuku or something?
Mozuku.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like her and her cat and her assistant.
We have every episode to talk about here.
Yeah.
So
There's so much to digest.
The opening's really great. It's adorable. We finally got our Gambaruzoi. I was waiting for that one. I know y'all were kind of lost on that.
That was
maybe a turning point.
My favorite scene in the entire show so far.
Yeah, because the way it happened is there's this whole thing with the art director staying the night and taking her pants off because it's liberating. Then her friend comes back in the middle of the night and winds up having to stay. She falls back asleep, and then the friend takes her own pants off. And this big like lesbian, classic anime scene happens. They're falling on each other, and then fucking Alba comes into work, just says a stupid line, and the jig is up because she can't stop from laughing.
Yeah.
That's fucking so brilliant.
And then she comes around the corner and discovers them, and it's like totally not what she's thinking because she just tripped and fell on her, and then she's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll leave."
To be fair, they both didn't have pants on and have been there all night.
I mean,
if you're gonna jump to conclusions, that's where you jump.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's just it's also like a really good representation of like what it's like to work in that sort of environment. Like, I don't know, but I know a lot of people that work in that sort of environment.
I love the division. I love the division of the teams and how they're really friendly. They go out and get dinner. I think my single most favorite thing that's happened in the show so far is they did a really, really good job adapting the first paycheck. Yeah, because that was like 4 pages in the manga, I think, and just the single strongest bit of characterization for Alba is after hearing all of these people doing their cool things, buying clothes, buying cosplay props, buying whatever. She decides to buy a cake for her parents to thank them with her first paycheck. Oh my god,
very sweet.
Oh my
god,
sweet girl. It's too much.
Yeah, she's a real good girl.
Alba's great.
Everyone, like I said, there's not a single character in that show that's
Hifumi with
not
her
great.
Hedgehog is oh my god.
Hifumi with her hedgehog that Alba thought it was her boyfriend originally. And what's her name with her like lightsaber?
When they're all late, it's just like breakfast was too good. I spent my time eating it. That's why I'm late.
So good.
That's another thing. Ko being like the first time that she's like a boss is a lot of fun because she doesn't know how to be like when to be a boss. Rather, she thinks she's doing good and then realizes she just did something dumb and she just gets all frustrated in the cutest way.
Yeah.
So that's a good show.
Ko's a good character. I like her. I like her a lot. I'm trying to like tier everyone in that show, but they're all great.
One thing I've noticed, just us talking about it, we've been referring to characters in other shows like the main character and the teacher. Meanwhile, we know all of the names of the characters in New Game. That's honestly that's a good way to tell how invested you are in a show. Yeah. If you can remember the characters' names. This is also
a very character-driven show.
Yeah,
though.
That is true. That is true.
Anyway, let's talk about the complete opposite of what we just talked about. Talk about Cheer Danshi, or Cheer Boys.
I'm I think 2 episodes behind on this one.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it, though.
Yeah. I think the last 2 episodes, for me, I'm caught up. The last 2 episodes have kind of fallen off visually, but they still have the same sort of charm that the first...
charm is something the show has a lot of.
It has a lot of charm. All the characters are really good and well-written and really well fleshed out. I actually really like the main character a lot. I like his background. I like the fact that he like...
It's nothing like too original, but...
Yeah, but I like the fact that he's like a former judo player turned like male cheerleader. Like that's so weird, but like good.
More than that, I like the role that his friend has to play in that, where he really like... Yeah. He kind of took his friend under his wing, realized, he needs something. I'm in a good spot to help him. And through helping himself, because he wanted to do this because his parents did it, he's able to help his friend.
And obviously Sugita's character is the best part of that entire show. The they do with
no
glasses.
Complaints here.
Yeah, he's the dumbest, and I love him. But
every line of his is just dumber than the previous.
The biggest positive thing I have to say about that show is that the soundtrack is unbelievable. It's all done by the guy that did basically the two free endings, Splash Free and the other one. He basically produced it, and it is very evident. There's a lot of like house music sounding kind of thing. It's all very electronic focused, which is really perfect for this kind of show that is very like involved with like pep and like happiness and
it works,
getting you excited and like pumped up. And I don't like it as much as like a lot of other stuff this season, but in terms of like something that's just a really weird, interesting thing, it definitely is.
It's one of those that you can definitely like at least know you can look forward to every week.
Well, like, and it's also very clearly not for me. Like people that watch like these sort of like newer style sports anime are gonna like people that watched Prince of Stride and were kind of disappointed by it. Watch this show because this is like what Prince of Stride should have been. It was. It's fantastic, and
it's good.
And it's also about really interesting subject matter that I don't know. Like that's the thing. The best thing about sports anime is it teaches you so much about sports that you would have never known otherwise.
The thing with this one in particular is it being male cheerleading. I didn't realize that they were just going to be like an all male troop. I thought it was going to focus on the dudes in the cheerleader troop.
Now, granted, the female cheerleading team is going to have a fairly major part later on in the season, considering how they keep setting up the main character and that one girl. I don't know if you.
I don't think I saw her yet.
Yeah, she shows up. She was in like a gym class with him, and then she turns out to be a member of the female cheerleading.
That's pretty
squad.
cool. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
So they're like setting up this like kind of romantic thing going on with them, but they have a joint practice with the female cheerleading squad, and it becomes very evident that they suck because the men suck because the female cheerleading squad is like national champions and like all this stuff. So it's really good that you get to see the coach. A new character is introduced that becomes their like kind of weird coach, even though he's also like a student. But this is another really good example also of a show that takes place out of college, which is great.
We're getting more and more of those.
I really like it. It's really like an interesting change of pace.
You should try Genshiken.
Yeah, it's definitely easier for people our age to empathize with for sure. But yeah, I mean, like if you like that sort of thing, Cheer Danshi is another good one of those things, but tackling a subject matter that has never been tackled before in a very technical, realistic way. Not to mention the fact that every time they tumble and do flips, it looks unfucking believable.
They do a good job animating that's for sure.
Yeah. I suspect that it was at least partially rotoscoped.
Really?
Yeah, because maybe
they use reference video.
I think they probably use reference video, but I also would not be surprised if they motion captured or rotoscoped and then did it. I mean, it literally looks like like real life.
Huh.
Like it's crazy.
I need to catch up. That's higher on my list of catching up to do.
Here's a good one. 91 Days.
Yeah.
That show has been surprising as hell.
Yeah. When was the new episode out? I feel like I haven't seen the newest.
That's Fridays.
I have not seen this week's.
I haven't seen this week's either.
Okay, cool. So we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, with shows like these, they almost always, these period dramas almost always have a strong first episode, which 91 Days definitely did. And the twist at the end, knowing that the guy was Nero after all, was really good. And I was worried because it's a story of revenge. And I'm thinking, man, we're going to have to sit here and wait as he sets up revenge for 12 episodes.
Really entrenched in Italian lore and culture because all the characters are Italian. Like
I was super worried that we were going to have to wait the entire show for him to get his revenge. And he kills one of the motherfuckers in the second episode. It's like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah,
holy
it's real.
Shit. Yeah.
And he almost gets caught.
Yeah.
Like he's a
This is a very, very suspenseful show.
It's really good. I'm kind of surprised not only how good it is, but also how good it looks. It does not look bad at all.
The execution is fantastic. I'm loving all the Godfather references.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the Godfather in over 10 years, and even I'm picking up the references, like shooting the gun with the jacket over it and stuff like that.
Well, not to mention the fact that Don Vanetti's meeting and he's literally on the day of his daughter's wedding.
Yeah, had that, and then of course the logo pops up at the end of episode 2 or 3. I forget which one. I'm just like, oh, that's literally the Godfather logo. Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty dope. I really like that show a lot. It's really interesting, and it definitely is tickling my
Yeah, no,
my period drama.
Yeah,
but in a really good
Bakuno,
way.
I forgot the name of that shit last season.
It does feel a Joker game.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
It does feel like a more realistic take on your Bakuno or something like that.
Which is always fun. I love seeing another culture depict that.
Yeah, and Japan really does like mafioso kind of stuff.
Who doesn't?
And this is I know, but this is like really a good example of them doing it right so far. So I'm excited to see the rest.
I do get confused with the three families. There's the Valencia,
the Venetti, and the
like
Orco.
What's Glacius then? Like glass something.
Maybe it might be Glacius.
There's a super
Orco.
there's a super big family that the other ones kind of have to pay.
Tell you what,
to.
There's
a chart on.
all of you guys are confused, our anime has a chart up that has all of the characters and their names and all the families they belong to, and it's really useful because
I actually brought that up to bring that up.
Yeah, it's a really good chart, and whoever put that together should get a medal.
Thank
because
you.
It's really good.
It helps. Is that an original or is that a book series?
I think it's original.
It's original.
Yeah.
Keep on keeping on.
It's Shuka, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And they don't usually make good things, so I'm really glad that this is good so far because I crossed my fingers for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about Alderamin.
Yeah, that's literally what I just saw. Yeah,
I've been biting my tongue on it. This is going to be hard for us because I have seen the 4th episode, which I think is by far the best so far. I might have catapulted it to my best of the season.
I've spoiled some stuff for you already, so you can spoil it for me. I don't care.
All right, so Alderamin, first of all, we didn't talk about it on the preview episode because I thought it was another light novel adaptation, which I think everybody thought.
Yeah.
To be fair, going in, because it is. You can only have so many military fantasy light novel adaptations, but
true.
Man, is it intense?
It's gotten really real.
Yeah, Ikta Solork is. I was really worried about him as a character because you have these OP characters that are like know-it-alls and they're all the same, but he's got a lot of really good characterization behind him. Specifically, I want to bring up the fact that he's a womanizer.
Yeah, not just like a silly womanizer, he's serious.
Actual womanizer. I was like, oh, nah, this shitty harem lead. He would have been so much better being the lazy genius without it. Until in episode 3, it bites him in the ass when he's put in charge of a unit, and that unit's leader is just like, you should know me. You fucked my mom. She was married. And I was just like, all right, if they're gonna
really real.
Bring womanizing into it like this, please keep doing that.
It's one of those shows that definitely calls attention to anime tropes and how they would be really fucked up in real life.
Yeah, no. There's I really like how all the characters are handled. Obviously, I like Ikta a lot, being he's the young Wenli of this. Definitely to bring him back to the Legend of Galactic Heroes. He's the lazy genius, and I'm sure if he was 5 years older, he would be a drunk as well.
Yeah,
but in particular, I really, really like the way the princess is characterized. There's this lazy, mean knight in shining armor saves her. She doesn't like him at first. Now it's obvious she's got a giant crush on him because he's the only one that treats her like a person instead of a princess. And, that's a good thing in a show. But what I really like is how she reacts to him when he does some of the stuff and how he reacts to her. She started bragging about all the stuff he knows, and he's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. When she starts talking about his family and stuff, he's got a shitty history, and he gets very angry. And what's her name? Yatori. Yatori has to hold him back once again.
I really like Yatori.
You're gonna like her more in episode 4. You ready to get spoiled?
She's
So
spoil me up.
Episode 3 happens, and they're in the middle of the combat practice because the sniper guy, his older brother, is being a dick, right? Yeah. So obviously he outsmarts him, and that's really cool. Yatori is the hero of the sniper guy's team. She bails him out, or the sniper guy's brother's team, and she bails him out incredibly, and he's just not having it because he's an asshole. And then they've all but lost, and then a chime goes out saying princess to the west. So they put everything on halt, and you find out that the princess has been kidnapped by some guards. So Yatori goes, and I don't want to spoil too much, let's just say Ikta is not the most overpowered person in that show.
Yeah, no, I could have called that. She
Tori
is unbelievable.
Knows her way around some swords.
Yeah.
And there's some really interesting shit. We got a flashback back to their childhood. I'm really, really curious to see how she's further characterized. I really think, outside of Love Live, this is probably my number one of the season, and I do not say that lightly.
Yeah.
This is the one where every week I'm like, oh, can I just get more Alderamin? It's really good. I'm interested to see where...
You get all the ramen?
All the ramen, yeah. Wow. I'm really interested to see what they do with those little, like, fairy spirits.
Yeah, they kind of teased those
weird.
in the first episode, and then they haven't really addressed this.
They come back a little bit
things.
on the battlefield, but not in a huge way. I'm curious about like why the author thought that was needed. I'm sure they're going to be a big thing, and it ties into the lore of this world he's built. But
I do like that the way that they shoot their air rifles. They literally put like an air spirit in this like bulbous thing, and then use it to like shoot.
That's really cool.
It's pretty interesting, but it's also strange because in the first episode, Ikta's spirit talked, and then
they don't talk often.
They don't talk often, and they haven't really played a major role since the first episode.
No.
So I don't really understand like what the purpose of all of them is.
This is a long running novel series. I think there's like 12 of them out right now. We aren't going to see all of them. I really hope this is a 20 something episode series because there's enough content there. And I'm already completely sucked into this world. Yeah,
it's good. I like it a lot so far. Yeah. I'm excited to watch the newest episode.
It's Ono Anime's sleeper pick.
Hit. Yeah. Why don't you talk about Battery a little bit? Because I actually have not been able to get to that show yet.
I don't want to.
It's depressing, but I'm gonna have to watch it.
We talked up Battery a lot with very good reason going into this season because it's from the books have won a lot of awards. It's No Itamina, which has been one of my favorite blocks since it became a block.
It's really good. It's usually very different.
And the show is just I don't know how to sum it up in like one way. Maybe badly produced, in my opinion. Because it's on Amazon and it's not getting the same fanfare Cabaneri did. In fact, if you search Battery on Amazon Video, it doesn't even show up. You need to search Battery Anime, and then it's like the fourth result.
That's really strange.
That's just on Amazon's side, but so nobody's talking about it. I don't know how other people feel about it, but to me, the direction is bad. The script writing is like almost vomit-inducing at points. The voice acting is... I know the voice actors are good. I've heard them in other things, which makes me believe that it's probably just poorly directed. The thing is, I can tell there's a good story in there, and some of the watercolor backgrounds look really good. The animation itself, nothing to write home about. Yeah. I'm going to keep watching it for now, but I'm pretty much watching it for the ending theme. It's a really good song from 2006. They pulled the Anohana, where they bring out like a really nostalgic song. Yeah. And like link it back to youth, which is really good.
Do you think that the fact that multiple people in the staff are doubling up on positions is a detriment to the show?
It's hard to tell at this stage. Normally in anime productions, that's a telltale sign of something fucking up. Like, the more names you see in credits, the worse it is, because that means they had to call in help. I haven't paid enough attention to the credit to see if, like, that stuff has changed, but I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think production's falling apart or anything. I think it was probably just something on the back burner, to be honest, which is a shame given how important Battery, the novel series, seems to be culturally. Like, it has a lot of cultural significance. Yeah. And it's just... I haven't read the books, and I feel like they aren't giving it a fair shake. Yeah. So, I would love for you to try it and form your own opinion.
Yeah, by the next episode.
I know I just bashed it real hard, but...
By the next episode that we record, I will have my own opinion.
I hope it fights through. I do like some of the characters, particularly the main character's little brother, Seiha. I really like that character. He's like sickly but wants to do baseball anyway, which is pretty cool. The main character is just like a one-dimensional asshole. Yeah. And the secondary character, his catcher, it's named Battery because the catcher-pitcher dynamic. And the catcher, while I don't hate him as a person, he is equally as one-dimensional. He's just like the perfect nice guy. He doesn't do anything bad. So it's just kind of...
That's disappointing to hear, but I will give it a shot. Okay, let's briefly... I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's pretty self-explanatory, but let's talk about Tales of Zestiria the X.
I still have only seen episode 0 and episode 1.
Okay.
If you want to talk about episode 0 real quick, I'd be more than glad to.
Yes.
Fire and brimstone.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculously crazy. But
that was not in the game.
I will
that was
say,
a prequel episode.
I
played the game, so you can spoil all you want.
Okay, well, I mean... It's basically kept that up, the entire time.
Yeah, that's
not necessarily as, crazy and over the top, but definitely it is a visual smorgasbord. It is very much
is
like...
Is a UFO table saying sorry for God Eater?
I mean, I don't think that God Eater necessarily looked bad in terms of, color and design and all that shit. I just think it was very poorly executed.
Best example of a production fuck-up I can think of in recent history, though.
But so far, Tales of Zestiria is definitely a really great exhibit of why the UFO Table digital team is so goddamn good. People love them. The same level of, movie quality CGI that we've gotten in any of their Fate adaptations, any of their movies. It is...
Good.
Great.
Tales deserves something like that because Tales anime have been historically very mediocre.
The other really awesome thing is you have some fantastic character designs. They look very UFO Table, which is awesome because UFO Table has the best character designs. Also, my biggest plus for this show is that while UFO Table shows usually look great, the last thing that I would ever describe them as is colorful. But this show is
super
bursting with color.
I did notice that they definitely kept the game's palette in there.
Yeah, and
I'm
it's
excited
really
because
wonderful.
The game in traditional JRPG fashion has you going to a lot of different locales, which are very strikingly different.
Yeah. But the last episode, the last part of the last episode
is Rose there yet? Show me Rose shows up.
I can't remember. Who's Rose? I can't remember.
She's the leader of the Thieves Guild.
Is she the one that is assigned to assassinate the princess?
Yes.
Okay, yes. She shows up in that episode.
With the 2 daggers?
Yes, she shows up in that episode, and
Rose.
also in that episode, Saray becomes the shepherd.
Okay,
you find out that he's a shepherd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
and he pulls the sword, he's King Arthur.
What's interesting, because I haven't gotten that far yet, the sky person. What do they call the people that they can't see?
Seraphim.
The Seraphim. I want to hear who the voice actress is because unfortunately the voice actress for her passed away.
Oh yeah,
recently.
Really?
That was that voice actress that passed away within the last 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
I want to just see how they do that because she has a very, very striking voice. She was also Sapphire in Prisma Ilya.
Yeah.
And they have very obviously rewritten Prisma Ilya to not have Sapphire in it right now. She's just missing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what they do there.
I honestly cannot remember. That was the last thing that I was thinking during that scene. But it's been fantastic so far.
That's another one I'm definitely going to catch up on.
I've never played a Tales of game before, but this is the best selling point. It is really good.
I mean,
also,
you can't exist as a JRPG series for 20 years without being kind of good.
Yeah. Also, the even cooler thing about this series is that apparently the 5th episode and beyond, they're going to be crossing over at least partially with Tales of Berseria.
When does that come out? I don't even know.
I have absolutely no idea, but I'm really excited to see what that entails because it's going to be really interesting.
Cool.
So, and I'm just excited to see the rest of that show because so far it has been really good and a really fantastic adaptation.
It's always good to just have a good, solid fantasy show on your lineup.
That is exactly what this is, and also, I mean, it just looks unbelievable. I mean, it's UFO Table very rightfully pulling out all the stops like they should, and doing
I follow her on Instagram. Sorry.
It's a very, very, very UFO Table show in the best kind of way. So,
sweet.
The only other one I think I have that I want to talk about is the Morose Mononokean.
I have not seen episode 4. I didn't even realize you were watching that.
I was watching that, yeah.
Yeah, how do you like it?
It's all right.
Because you haven't seen anything in the same yokai sphere about pacifying them, have you? There's a few shows like it.
Not
Doron
that specifically,
and
unless you count Uchiyo and Tora.
No,
as
no,
it's certainly about pacifying yokai.
I talk Doron and Makun to an extent. Definitely Natsume Yujin show. That's the big one everybody compares this to.
I don't hate it. It's not my favorite show of the season, and
kind of slow and
I
plotting.
think it can be quite boring at times, but I do enjoy it. I like the main character. I like all the secondary characters that you meet in each episode. I really like. That's
the strength of stories like this. The yokai characters are always really, really good.
Did you see the episode with the monk and his daughter?
Yeah, and the laughing mess. Those have been very good. I hope the daughter comes back. I really liked her.
I liked her too.
I'm sure she will.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm not like
it's a slow plotting thing, and it's that style of show. The payoff is always at the end of the episode, and sometimes it can be a fight to get through it. That's just the style of that storytelling. To be honest,
like I said, I don't hate it. I enjoy it usually. It's just that I don't have the greatest attention span, and this is not the most enthralling of the shows that I'm watching this season. But I do like it. So, I don't have anything else I want to talk about, I don't think.
I'm going to run roughshod over the things I'm watching that you're not then.
Okay.
Where to start?
Oh, shit. We got to talk about Mob Psycho 100.
Oh.
Holy fuck. I don't know how to forget. Well, save the best for last, right?
All right, yeah. All right. We can talk about Mob.
Let's talk about I think our friend Kat said it best, that this is like if Klasky Kusupo teamed up with Bones to make an anime. It really is... one of the most unique looking things I've ever seen, and
to put it lightly, yeah,
it's the bonesiest bones that has ever bones.
I don't even know what I want to say about it. Like, I enjoy the story, but for me, being a Sakuga fan, it's all about the Sakuga, to be honest.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things I've seen in it is one of the hardest animation techniques, in my understanding, to pull off well, and they keep using it, is oil on glass.
Yeah.
They use it extensively in the first episode. It was a bit in the second episode.
Almost in every episode.
Yeah, and that is very, very difficult to do.
And they do it really well.
There's that's one artist that keeps doing that. I'm blanking on her name, but there's this like super. It's I don't know how to talk about it, but it's an institute for the arts called Gaidai, where a lot of the terrible name, a lot of the Gaidai.
Wow.
GEIDAI, but it's an institute, and it's like super hardcore, super ridiculously hard to get into, but some of the like most interesting animators in Japan come out of this institute. So all the oil on glass that you see in that show is a direct result of that school of art, and there are other Gaidai alumni working on Mob Psycho.
Yeah.
So that's why we're seeing weird shit and why it's working so well.
Yeah, they use a lot of really experimental forms of animation. And also, like a lot of the oil on glass, a lot of just black on white pencil sketch animation. A lot of just really quick cuts, like really fast. Well, I mean, it's something that Bones really specializes in. Also, I said this during the preview episode, but Bones is very good at making flappy things, and this is like the
flappiest.
The flappiest of flaps.
Until Flip Flappers runs in October.
Yeah.
God, I can't wait for Flip Flappers.
But this is about the most perfect marrying of one's visual style with a Bones animation
Even
style.
one on Twitter is just like, wow, this looks like my stuff. This is cool.
It looks so good, and like it definitely does have that like, you know, kind of like 90s American kids show, like Ah Real Monsters kind of look to it, with like there's so many like squiggly lines. It's kind of like grotesque at points. It's definitely my front runner so far. I think it's my favorite show. I think that Bones has done the impossible and has finally adapted a like emotionless main character and actually made him a good character. Like Bob is a really, really good character.
He's a lot of fun. I love Reagan. Reagan's like the coolest fucking
He's
dude.
a really good character to bounce comedy off of because he's super, super earnest.
Yeah.
So he's not like dismissive at all like most emotionless characters. He's just like, always just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like that's his whole character.
But at the same time, you can also like really tell that Reagan cares about Mob.
In a weird way.
In a very, very weird way.
In like kind of a self-preservation way, because he knows if Mob goes away, he doesn't have a business.
I feel like he does definitely feel that way. That's his primary objective here, but I think he also cares a lot about Mob bettering himself.
Yeah, totally.
That's definitely a part of it for Reagan.
I just love the whole thing with Mob. They're begging him to join the psychic club, and he just ends up joining the body improvement club.
That's so cool.
So good.
I like that especially because I saw this on Twitter, but that was almost like a commentary on anime fans. I felt, where it's just like in high school, you know, the nerdy clubs and everything. They see these like big scary jock douchebags, and it's just like, no, they're actually super cool. And if you try to join their club, they'd probably be really happy. Yeah, which I thought was just like a really cool thing to have.
They're super like awesome about having Mob in the club the episode after he joined, which is pretty great.
That was really awesome.
I just It's a great show, and it is very, very emblematic of why I think One has really blossomed after One Punch Man. I'm really excited to see like what his next projects look like, because like
crazy.
His art is really strange because it's not good. Like it's not good art, but like the way in which is not
good. It just
good
shows that it doesn't matter when you get to a certain point. His unique branding and style of comedy,
but his art also has gotten so much better after he did One Punch Man.
He has to like purposefully make it shitty now.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he's blossomed so much as an artist, but I think Mob Psycho 100 is definitely like the next progression after One Punch Man. I think if you liked One Punch Man, you're not necessarily going to like Mob Psycho 100, but I love it. It's fantastic.
It's really funny because for me, I already, to an extent, like it better than One Punch Man in some areas.
Yeah.
And that's like that's how most there's a dumb term to use, but anime critics feel about it, and everybody online is kind of lamenting at the fact that it will never be as popular as One Punch Man, even though it's pretty much a superior product.
I understand why it will never be as popular as One Punch Man, because first of all, it's nowhere near as accessible to those in the West, because it deals exclusively in something that is very Japanese, which is yokai and ghosts, and a very Japanese notion of ghosts. Also, it's just really subversive. Like it's meant to, in the way that it's produced, these weird, sort of style animations where, if One Punch Man was like a kind of show off for like all of these big name battle animators and very like traditional styles of animation, then Mob Psycho is the show for like really weird fringe styles of animation.
That's one thing that's really cool about it. And in fact, the guys that run the Sakugaboru, if you watch previous episodes, you see me on that site when we're talking about animation. They have started a blog, and of course, being a Sakuga blog, they have to talk about Mob Psycho every week. And one thing that they keep noting in all these articles is, where One Punch Man was highlighting the individual styles, Mob Psycho does the same, but adheres to like sameness a lot better. And it keeps the same like overall style while still allowing the artist to flourish. Whereas One Punch Man was a little jarring when you could tell, oh, this animator did this, it's got this, and this.
I think also though, weirder styles of individual animation, more stylized styles of animation look more normal when the show itself already looks weird. When the show looks like Yusuke Murata's style, which is incredibly neat and incredibly like polished and refined, and not about the furthest away you can get from one style, I think the gulf between like individualized animation and the look of the show is bigger when you have that. But to be fair, like you said, you like also I think they're very much encouraging people to like, okay, branch out, but like try to stay within.
You got
like,
the animation directors are still kind of keeping it close instead of literally letting people do what they want with the scene.
But what the people have been doing with what they got is nothing short of amazing so far, and this is definitely the most well animated show this season. By a very wide margin.
Not even close.
And Sasuga Bones. That's all I gotta say. Bones. And also, I'm just really fucking happy because like I can't tell you how many times I've been really excited for Bones show, and then after like episode 2, it doesn't look as cool anymore.
I don't think that's going to be an issue here.
Yeah, this looks really good, and I can tell
there's a really good friendly rivalry between the two studios to kind of off each other.
Yeah. I mean, they're both known for incredible animation, so they have
a very friendly rivalry going with this.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, because there's a Michael Sinterklaas panel that we want to see in half an hour. I'm going to talk about the shows that Mark isn't watching real quick. I'm just going to go alphabetically. Ange Vierge has actually been a giant surprise in a lot of really bad and really good ways. This is the trading card game where they made it even more trading card than I thought possible. They actually refer to each other by like their rarities, like those are the classes, but.
Is it better or worse than Luck and Logic? That's all.
It's better. It's better. I'm getting there. But one thing that everybody who has watched it has noted is that literally every episode has a very long bath scene. Like they spent, I think it was 14 minutes of the first episode in a bath, which is not good. But I was ready to drop it there. But I was like, I gotta try everything. Give it the good old college try of 3 episodes. And by the 3rd episode, I was actually enjoying it quite a bit because the enemy is absolutely terrifying. They're intelligent, and like I said, it balances itself like a card game where there's somebody controlling the other people. the enemy just like skipped the front line of the quote cards and just wrecked the controller, and now she's stuck in like a frozen crystal. So it got pretty real, and it's as far as action goes, it's actually surprisingly very, very well animated. Normally, trading card game shows aren't. They're glorified advertisements. So it's been a pretty fun romp. I could deal with fewer minutes in the bathtub.
Is this Bushiroad or Vice Shorts?
I'm not sure actually. I didn't think that hard about it. Let's see. Keep going. I need to watch Danganronpa. That's on the to-do list. Fate. I wrote about this on the website that I hope that more people watch this season of Fate Liner Prisma Ilya, because it is a big departure from the other ones, and it's a time reset sort of because they go to an alternate dimension, and I knew that the fights were going to be cool. I had no idea they were going to be this good. I've said this time and time again, and I stand by it. I think Prisma Ilya has the best fights in all of the animated Fate series. I know a lot of people who would shoot me for saying that after Unlimited Blade Works, but I completely stand by it. They have several fights now where Thor is involved, or 2 different Gilgameshes, and just as a Fate fan, that is the coolest fucking thing ever. And especially now because we get Lancer and Archer as well. It's really cool. So good fights. They really toned down the fan service quite a bit as well. So if that's what was keeping you out, then give it a shot. It's pretty good. Are you watching Konobijutsu? The Konobi, the art club one?
No. I've been curious about it, but I haven't heard anything.
It's very sweet. It's well done. It's one of those shows, not a harem, thankfully. It's just like one girl with a unrequited love, which is it's really cute. The characters are fun. The animation is good. If you guys liked Snafu. Origairu, there we go. I couldn't remember the Japanese title for it. It's by the same studio, and it has kind of some of the same feelings at some point. A lot more lighthearted. You don't have a guy like killing himself socially to think he's helping somebody, which is nice. But the show it's fun. It's cute, lighthearted.
Good.
We don't need to talk about that. I dropped that one. So we don't need to talk about that. Was the Maso Gakuen HH.
Oh, God.
Might as well be porn one.
Yeah.
Did you try Qualidea Code?
I did, and I don't think I made it through the first episode.
Really? You should have made it to the end, because that's when the blonde-haired girl started singing, and that's her power. That's when I was sold on it. It's another A1 Asterisk Wars-ish romp. I think I'm 1 episode behind. I need to catch up on that. It's entertaining. The characters going back and forth is enough to keep me there, and the fighting is pretty cool, and the special effects top-notch.
Let's talk about Jason Bourne.
Let's talk about Jason Bourne.
Apparently, Tampa Bay Times says that it is clear-cut, the best of the series.
I will withhold judgment on that.
All I have to say is, my God, that's Jason Bourne.
So we watched the first episode of Rewrite when we were in LA.
Oh.
I kept watching.
Oh, no. Why would you do this?
It's really bad.
Oh, it's got to be so terrible.
I like to keep one absolutely terrible anime under my belt to remind myself of the good.
Oh, we didn't talk about a very terrible anime. Taboo Tattoo.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Buruzi Furuzi and the Tomo Shred the Field.
Are you still watching, or did you drop it?
No, I'm fucking in for the long haul, baby. I'm going with that shit.
This is our dumb action show. I do really like the action.
Yeah.
Even the action is dumb, though. Like, they keep on doing the stupid-ass camera flips.
It looks awful. It looks really bad.
It's over-directed. The storyboarding is really silly.
And the animation is terrible. Like, it's just not good. But, like, I can't tear my eyes away. It's like a donkey show. It's like an anime version of a donkey show. I just can't stop watching. I don't hate it. All the characters are awful, and it's poorly written and poorly, done in basically every way, but I just can't stop watching because of Bluesy Fruzy.
One of those.
She made it into our panel, and she's made it into my heart.
Jesus.
I also like her in the latest episode. Her friend gets the shit kicked out of her and then kidnapped. Then Bluesy Fruzy comes in and just puts on all of her clothes and just keeps them on the rest of the episode.
That was
I don't understand that at all.
She's American. That's why she did it.
Yeah, Americans borrow each other's clothes all the time. If I ever found you dead, I promise to put on all of your clothes.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think.
Yep. Whatever you were wearing at the time.
Real quick, I'm going to talk about a weird one. I was kind of actually surprisingly excited for this one going into it. Regalia, the Three Sacred Stars. That's the girls piloting mechs, except the girls are actually the mechs, and the mechs are actually hand animated. I was really enjoying it, and I'm not the only one. I feel like the 30 people who were watching it all enjoyed it as well. For some reason, nobody watched it, and for some even odder reason, after 4 episodes, they just halted production, and they're going to restart airing it in September. So we'll get new episodes in October, where the new season would start.
Yeah.
So I mean, the 3 episodes that have aired, the 4th one should be out very soon. Were really good. I enjoyed it. The plot is interesting, a little confusing. I will admit that readily, but the mech action is definitely worth sticking around for. They have really, really cool humanoid mechs in it.
I'm very interested to see what the explanation is as to why.
Oh, we're never going to get one. We're never going to get one. If we get one, it'll be because some animator accidentally posted it on Twitter.
I just don't understand. That's so weird. Like, maybe they're predicting an earthquake.
Oh my god. So
with anime.
Last but not least is the reason my Fridays exist. Fridays are now Time Travel Fridays. Time Travel Girl is fucking great. Y'all know I love kids shows. This is definitely a kids show, and the way they characterize these scientists that she's going back to meet is hysterical, because they make sure to get the point. Like, the first one she goes to is I want to say Gilbert, the guy who made the scientific model of how the Earth is magnetic with the rotating metal, yada yada yada. You watch the show, you'll learn more. But they did him very well, and putting her in that time period was great, because the girl that was living with Gilbert was just like, oh my god, she can't dress like this, and forced her in her corset and the whole dress and everything, and she hated it. That was a lot of fun. Benjamin Franklin shows up in the 3rd episode, and he's just a womanizing, terrible person. It's a lot of fun. It's really dumb. I'm not sure where the direction is going with it. Sometimes it's super serious. Sometimes it's a stupid kids show. Like, in the 1st episode, before they even do the time jump stuff, a kid gets hit in the chest with a baseball because he's saying hi to somebody, and his heart stops. They have to bring out the AEDs to, like, resurrect him, and they use the AED as a link to go back to this, like, father of modern electricity and magnetics and Gilbert. And I'm just like, I wasn't expecting that. It's wacky. It's
crazy.
on Funimation. It is a fun watch. Give it a shot. I think that'll do it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's an hour and a half of solid anime
If
talk.
you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please do it.
Yeah, please do.
Check out our other videos, and
especially our Thunderbolt Fantasy.
Especially our Thunderbolt Fantasy video, which is, you'll notice, has a lot more views than anything else on our channel.
Thanks,
by
Taiwan. We appreciate
it. Anyway, yeah, we'll be making some more videos and putting them up this week. But until then, goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, shit.
Did you guys realize how big she is? Like, look at this thing. Oh my god, she's massive. I love it. This was a goodbye. This is the Sunny Day song version of it. Okay. We'll do a plush review next episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we will.